But so when I was in jail, I had always believed in God, right? But I never had a relationship with God. It was like God was somewhere over there, and that was really all I knew. I didn't know how to talk to God. To be honest, kind of thought some of these people were a little whack because I'm like I couldn't understand how they believed so firmly in something they couldn't see. But I got to a point where I was just like, I'll try anything. And I remember the chaplain took us to church one day, and he was talking about talking to God and hearing his voice. And I'm like, hearing his voice, like this guy, because I'm thinking I'm going to hear like, whoa, or something, out of the sky. And it's like, how am I going to hear his voice? And he said, pray about it. And nothing pisses me off more than somebody's suggestion being pray about it because it's like, that doesn't do anything for me. Like and I kind of felt like it was a cop out, like it was just a way to end the conversation. But later that night, I was in my cell, and all I could hear him is him saying, pray about it. So I said, okay, God, I actually got down on my knees in the cell, and I just said, if you're real, show me you're real because I need something. I need something to grasp onto that's going to help me change because I obviously can't do it on my own. I've tried numerous times, and each time it's worse. And I said my prayer, and I got back in the cot and tried to sleep. And I'm just laying there, and all of a sudden I hear in my head, it was like my own voice in my head, but it was something like I didn't know the Bible, right? So, I mean, I'm pretty fluent in it now, but I didn't know. And I hear Mark 7:16. I'm like, what? What the hell is Mark 7:16? So I'm like still trying to sleep. And then I stop myself. I'm like, okay, just prayed for a sign. Now you hear this, you got to look it up. So I opened the Bible to Mark 7:16, and it said, if any man has an ear to hear, let him hear. When I'm praying about hearing God's voice. So I tell you, like, I cried and I had goosebumps. Like, it was like, I just knew, like, it was like, okay. And so from that point, my willingness to be open to a higher power, to God, to some bigger thing was there. And I think that's what was hindering me before because I had too many doubts and I just kind of wasn't putting my all into it. And so from that point on, I just like started this thing of constant prayer, thinking about things before I do them, running things by God, and it went as far as, they're talking about sending me to prison, but I knew I was going home. And, one day they came, got me, and they said, okay, your lawyer's here. And I'm sitting there and I'm talking to my lawyer through the little window thing on the phone. And she's like, okay, I think you better take this deal because they're offering you 9 to 11 years when I was looking at 20 to life. And I said, no, are you crazy? I said, I'm going home. And she kept saying, no, you're not. And I said, God told me. And she looked at me like I was crazy, and that's how I would have felt then prior to that, and I just knew it to have the confidence in knowing that was able to make me